Hey guys, Alec Peirce, Vintage Scuba. Okay, so I'm going to talk about masks today. Mask, big deal, right? Well, you all have a mask. I mean, I've often said that the mask is the single most important piece of equipment that the person has. And the reasoning for that is that if the mask doesn't fit and doesn't work well for you, number one, you won't enjoy scuba diving. If you don't enjoy it, you won't do it. If you don't do it, it's over. And secondly, if you have a mask that doesn't work well, it's not safe. You can't see properly, you can't help your buddy, you don't enjoy the dive, you're bumping into things, you're fumbling, touching things, all kinds of reasons. So the mask is really very, very important. People have sometimes questioned why I say that, but maybe you understand better. So anyway, this is my mask, the mask that I currently use. We just got back from South Africa, we were in Florida before that, and we had several trips this year. This is my mask, and this is a relatively, well, it's a brand new mask, as a matter of fact. This is the Cressy Big Eyes. I think they call it the Big Eyes. I like it. It works really, really well. It fits my face. So it's obviously a good mask. And very low volume, quick, easy adjustments on it. You push, you pull like that. It's very, very easy. Very close to my face. If you look from the side here, you'll notice a couple of things about this mask. It's kind of weird. Most masks, when it's on your face, the glass points straight up and down. With the Cressy, I'm going to put the nose. So the nose now you see is parallel with the ground, level with the ground. You see that? The nose is parallel. So and you notice the glass is sloped. Look at that. It's kind of neat. So when you have this mask on, this mask from Cressy, yes, you're looking down. Well, that makes sense. That's where I look when I'm scuba diving. How smart is that? And all they did to achieve that small but important difference is make the skirt, that's this part, the skirt a bit wider here and a bit narrower here. You notice on the bottom, you can see down here how very close the skirt is to the frame of the mask. You see how it's tipped? So you get great vision. They're very big eyes. Maybe that's the reason for the name. And you might notice something else. I have prescription lenses in there. That's right. You folks that have less than perfect vision, like myself, for reading anyway, you can get lenses to fit into your mask or even to replace your mask lenses. So this is a modern mask. Seals really well. Strap goes around the back. Quick to adjust, tighten it up, lift the button and loosen it. Just a great mask. Light, and you know, they're not inexpensive, but they're great. They fold up, stick it in your dive bag, away you go. That's not the way they always were. As a matter of fact, the very earliest masks, I have one of only 3 of the first production masks ever made. And it was made from a piece of fire hose. So the skirt is perfectly straight like a tube. And the edge of the skirt is about 3/8 of an inch thick, and it was ground and shaped to fit your face, and it's sort of somewhat sealed pretty well, and it hurt, everything else, it was not very good. But they got better, and they improved so and got better and better, but they're almost all black rubber, which deteriorates in age. You got to keep it sealed up in a bag, and so on. But I wanted to mention about a certain period of time. It was in the 70s, the early 70s, probably the late 60s, early 70s, and into the mid, maybe even the late 70s. For some reason, there was a trend among manufacturers. Manufacturers actually do sometimes start a trend in scuba gear. Not always, sometimes it's the divers, it works back and forth. But for some reason, for a period of time in there, maybe 10 years, manufacturers made masks that got bigger and bigger and bigger. It was actually getting pretty silly because they had some nice small, close to your eyes, low volume masks. Then they started to make them bigger. And of course it's an attempt to sell you a mask. Here's a mask that's bigger, you know, you can see more and all that. They have all kinds of reasons for it. I want to show you some of those masks. In my very large vintage collection, I have lots of all different types of things. I just brought out 4 or 5 of these super masks. Let's call them that. They all had names. Super View, wide view, all that kind of stuff. Let me show you a couple. Now, I'll leave that one for a minute, but here's a typical one. Now, this particular one was made by U.S. divers. Aqua-Lung, big company. And you can see what they have. It's not at all like my own mask. It's a big, wide glass plate on the front, and it has a plate on each side as well. You see, side windows. Yeah. And the typical black rubber strap from the day, these has a plastic clip. They usually have metal clips. But this is a typical wide view or super view mask. And it went on like so. And stuck up from your face. I'll show you in a minute how that sticks up from your face. So it actually got bumped occasionally. Now theoretically, these side windows allow you to see out. But in actual fact, unless you're an owl and can roll your eyes 180 left or right, you can't really see out through those windows. The post, actually, you see the post on the corner? Actually got in the way. So while this mask looks like it gives you more vision, in actual fact, if you sit down with two masks, a modern one and one of these old masks, and you stay perfectly still, and you put this on, see what you can see, no, you can't see as much out of this mask. A couple other small features, you'll notice that it does have a nose pocket, so you can reach up there and pinch your nose to equalize. That's good, you know about equalizing. And it also had an optional purge. In those days, a mask purge, to get the water out. That's what a purge valve is for. It's a little valve, one-way valve, and you got water in your mask. You blow into the mask slowly, like that, build up pressure, and the water down in your nose pocket goes out through the purge. A little optional purge down the bottom. Almost all the masks back then had a purge, and they had a purge for a simple reason. Rubber, by its very nature, it tends to dry out, and the seal is not really good. And so, if not immediately, eventually, any rubber mask would leak a little bit. So most masks in those days had a purge valve to get rid of that water. So there's one from US Divers, and here's another one. This one is from ScubaPro, big name even today. ScubaPro, big name, same type of thing. Looks to be almost exactly the same, very similar. A little different curve to it, a little different shape to it. This does not have, you can't pinch the nose because it's got this, what's this big thing on the nose? It looks like a big schnoz there on the nose. Well, in fact, that's actually a purge. This particular style of purge was quite common. Again, as I mentioned just now, purges were important. Every mask had them. So some countries put on a big purge in an attempt to sell it. Our purge is bigger, so you keep your mask clear. Now, the secret is to stop water getting in, but anyway. So they had a big purge on the front there, and so they had the big purge. You couldn't get your fingers in the front. But if you look on the bottom here, I don't know if you can see there, Kevin, can you see those two pockets? There's two pockets there. So you have this mask on, and you reach up with two hands, one there, and you pinch your nose like that, you see? And so you could equalize as well. Otherwise, it's very similar to the US Divers. Now here's the third one. This is from Nemrod, I think. Full view, Swimaster, full view. Whoa, Swimaster. And again, it looks very, very similar. This is perfectly square, and it has the exposed pocket, and it has the purse. So it's all very similar. These masks were all almost exactly the same. Very similar. As one company sold it, and they got a few sales, another company would say, hey, we want to have one of those masks. Get one of those masks, so they would make one and they sell it too. That's the way it works, you know that. I want to show you two that are kind of special. This is one that I've had for a very, very long time. This is an old mask, and this mask is made by somebody. I can't read that on there, Kevin. This is Nemrod. Maiden, I don't know, or is it Aqua-Lung? Can't read that. But anyway, this mask was it wasn't common, but it was a mask that stuck in your mind. If you ever saw one of these, you see it's very similar. It has the windows on the side, roundy, kind of an oval shape. And you notice it has pockets. You can look in through the glass. Can you see in there, Kevin? Let me get some of the dust off it. Can you see inside the two pockets? But if you have your regulator on, this company, if you have a regulator on, it's hard to get your fingers up there to pinch your nose. So what they've done, pretty neat. You see here, you see this piece of wire on the outside here? There's two of them. You see that? Well, that piece of wire actually goes right underneath and goes up inside those nose pockets. Can you see them in there? So with this particular mask, when you wanted to squeeze your nose, you only had to use one hand. You'd reach up and you would take those two pieces of wire and squeeze them together, squeeze your nose like that, and you get equalized. Let them go and you're fine. How about that? On the outside of the mask, two levers that you squeeze to pinch your nose for equalizing. Pretty neat idea. And it also had a purge button, optional purge button right here in the middle. When I say optional, a lot of these masks, they would have a purge installed, but to make it work, you could decide if you wanted it or didn't want it. You would cut the cover, the piece of rubber cover off, and that would make it an optional or an operational purge button. And one more, special, because this is my mask. Oh yeah, well sure, you know, hey. I had to have one of those Max-Vue masks too. I'm not silly. So this mask came out and I said, oh, I love that mask. Now look at, you see why I like this one? Oh, no post in it. You see? I think I like this mask because it had no post. It was really unique, obviously wide view or super view, whatever it was called. And it also reminded me of my first car. My first car was a '56 Buick Special. Now if you know anything about Buicks, from the mid-50s, you know that they had monstrous curved windshields that went out like this, curved right down the side. You could look up the side of the windshield to see where you were driving, and this reminded me of that. So there, that's my first mask. It's not in great shape, but the glass is good. You can see it very well, and it has pinch noses, and then actually has 2 optional purges on it. So that's my mask. It's special. Bigger glass, nose pockets, 2 purges. That's why I said my mask is bigger than your mask. Pretty silly, actually, and thank goodness that's all gone now. So now we have silicone masks. They last forever. They never corrode. They never wear out, and they're small. They're light. Tuck them. You can see better, better vision, easier to clear. Everything about them is better. But a fun era, real vintage scuba stuff. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and now you know a little bit more about the development of masks. I have dozens and dozens of different odd masks. I'll show you some more sometime. Take care. Talk to you soon. Alec, Peirce, Vintage Scuba.